I am Lana McKissack, and now I'm going to really draw my life. Okay, so the first part was true. I was born in Los Angeles, California, to two loving parents. My mom, who was born in Japan, was a housewife, and my daddy, who was born in Florida, was a defense attorney. I grew up with two beautiful, intelligent, and talented sisters who were 11 and 12 when I came into the world. As long as I remember being alive, I have wanted to be an entertainer. But my parents wanted me to try a little bit of everything before I decided to completely dedicate my life to performing. Throughout my childhood, I was simultaneously enrolled in acting school, singing lessons, dance classes, gymnastics, blah, 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 and art school, which obviously I excelled in the most. My parents were most concerned about my education. I was taking honors classes, and at a certain point, it was literally impossible to maintain both my grades and all my extracurricular activities, so we decided to whittle them down to a more manageable load, and I focused on school, acting, and singing only. My whole life can be described as a series of high highs and low lows. I was a moderately successful child actor, but I found it much harder to break back into the industry as an adult. I signed a recording deal with Sony Records in Japan when I was 15. Japan apparently looks like a jalapeno, or a semicolon. Anyway, I released 4 singles, and I toured the country, but I never really made too much of a splash. That experience was a bit of a mixed bag for me, because while I was lucky enough to be able to sing and perform, I was also traveling back and forth every few weeks from Tokyo to LA while I was in the middle of high school, dealing with high school stuff and battling exhaustion, stress, and this little addiction to diet pills that I somehow developed. Don't worry, I'm fine now. I graduated from high school 2 days after my 17th birthday, and I spent the summer questioning my life choices and my drawing abilities. Don't judge me. Was I really happy in Japan? Would it be worth it to disrupt or delay college just for a shot at something I wasn't even sure I wanted? I decided in the end to go with my gut, and I stopped my career in Japan and moved into the dorms at UCLA that September. College was amazing. I really, really loved it. I made some awesome friends, including a floppy-haired ball of energy named Chester C., who became like a brother to me. I also learned a lot about both my craft and myself, and I met a very sweet and brilliant English boy who I ended up dating for 7 years. Most of which was long distance. We were in love, but, sometimes things just don't work out. 2009 to 2010 were an emotional roller coaster for me. One of my sisters, who is my best friend in the entire world, gave birth to a beautiful little boy named Alex, who apparently looks like the dog that I drew in my last Draw My Life video. I'm sorry, Alex, you're beautiful. He was a huge blessing to our family, and we all love him so much more than we ever thought was possible. But just a few months after he was born, my family received some devastating news. My dad, who was the most important person in the universe to me, my rock, my hero, my everything, was diagnosed with glioblastoma multiforme, an extremely aggressive malignant brain tumor. His doctors said that even with treatment, he probably wouldn't live more than a year and a half. I felt like I'd been run over by a truck. See, my dad had always been incredibly intelligent and witty and youthful and so funny, and he had a photographic memory, a thirst for knowledge, and he was the greatest storyteller I have ever known. Most importantly, he was my daddy. The tumor quickly progressed, and my family and I had to watch him mentally deteriorate before our eyes. He soon became unable to speak properly and was bedridden, first at the hospital and then at home. On April 24th, 2010, I held his hand for hours, and I sang him every song I knew. He was in a coma, and I had no idea if he could even hear me, but all I knew is that I wanted him to know how much I loved him, and I wanted to bring him peace. He passed away a few hours later, only 5 months after his diagnosis, and my heart was broken. The only thing that saved me during this time was meeting the man of my dreams, a loving, compassionate, hilarious, and talented genius named Nathan Moore. We'd only been dating for 3 months when he sat beside me at my father's funeral, holding my hand and comforting me. He's really tall, guys. Seriously. Like a giant. From the beginning, I knew that he was the one. On our first date, we went to a midnight showing of Avatar, and we joked and laughed throughout the first hour. But at a certain point, he stopped responding to me entirely, and I was so irritated until I realized that he had fallen asleep behind his 3D glasses. I guess you could say it was love at first sight. Or sleep. At the end of that year, we went on a short-lived game show called $1 Million Money Drop. And we ended up winning a sizable amount of money, which enabled us to pay off the debt we'd both accrued in college. We were able to devote more time to pursuing our dreams. And since we were both actors and writers, we decided to work on my YouTube channel together. One day, we hiked up a mountain to shoot a sketch about lumberjacks. A handful of our close friends accompanied us to play various roles, and as we began to film the final scene with the sun setting in the background, Mr. Moore got down on one knee and asked me to marry him. I said no. Just kidding. We made it official on November 3rd, 2012. And for those of you who are wondering why I've never publicly discussed it, it's because some things you want to keep private, at least for a little while. But now I want you all to know, because I am truly the happiest I have ever been, and I want you to share in my joy. I owe you guys so much for making it possible for me to do what I love with the people I love. The talented friends I made on Internet Icon and the other amazing creators I've met since my dear friend Chester introduced me to the YouTube world have made my life the crazy, fun journey that it is today. And I can't wait to see what happens next. Thank you guys for watching my videos and for always supporting me. I love you so much. And I'm just gonna color that in there.